Morning Date. Welcome to another edition of Morning Date when we get to meet with amazing figures from all walks of life. And today I have the privilege of sitting down with the EU Ambassador to Korea, Dr. Michael Reiterer. Good morning, Doctor.
안녕하세요.
Oh, 안녕하세요. Thank you very much for coming here to the studio and having this interview with us today.
Well, my pleasure to have a little morning drive and discovering a new area of Seoul, which I normally don't come here very often.
Oh, yes. Not many people come to this side of Seoul that often. 네, 오늘은 EU의 대사이신 Dr. Michael Reiterer 씨와 함께 모닝 데이트를 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. Now, we have a lot of listeners from all over the country listening to the show. Would you like to say hello to them?
Well, good morning to everybody. Thank you for listening in the morning. And you will hear perhaps something new because Europe, unfortunately, is not on the news every day. There's a concentration on the area, which is normal. There's a concentration on the United States. But I can tell you, in the European Union, we are 500 million people.
Yes.
We are a very big partner in trading and investment for Korea. And I think we share many ideas and values, so it might be good to talk about it a little bit.
Yes, I hope that this time would be a very good opportunity for us to learn more about the EU. And as I said, it's a huge part of the world. I can't really call it a continent, but a huge part with... can you give us a little more updated information about the EU, please?
Well, the European Union is now more than 60 years old. It started with only 6 countries, and now we are 28, and we have more countries who want to join the European Union. So soon we will be, well soon, I think by 2025 we will be more than 30. Also, the United Kingdom, unfortunately, has decided to leave the European Union.
Yes.
But that has not broken the enthusiasm, I would say, for the European Union. It has even reminded the citizens of the European Union that this is something they want to preserve and they want to develop further.
How did you say that the history goes back to?
Well, the history goes back to more than 60 years. And
60 years.
Yes, and we have the 9th of May as what we call Europe Day or Schuman Day, which reminds us that the European Union was set up. And the idea at the time was to create peace because Europe was part of the problem and not part of the solution. And after the Second World War, decision was taken that specifically Germany and France should not make war anymore. And the smart idea at the time was, how can you prevent war? Well, you have common control of 2 elements which are necessary, at least at the time, to make war. That was coal, steel,
Yes.
because coal was the energy, and steel the material to make arms.
Yeah.
So if you have common control, you will make sure that the other partner or yourself are not producing arms to surprise the other one. So that was the idea. And I think it worked out because we have peace in Europe. The European Union in 2012 got the Peace Nobel Prize because we integrated with a major efforts after 1989 all the East European countries which became independent again after the Soviet Union collapsed. And I think that was a memorable moment for the Union and I would say for the world.
네, European Union, 유럽연합은 지금 현재 28개의 나라가 멤버로 구성이 되어 있는 상황입니다. 그리고 2025년 되면 한 30개의 멤버 컨트리들이 생기지 않을까라고 말씀을 해주셨는데요. 역사가 60년이 지났습니다. 그리고 처음에 시작됐던 계기는 평화 정착을 위해서 아무래도 세계 2차 대전이 끝난 이후에 특히 프랑스와 독일 간의 이 싸움을 어떻게 우리가 말릴 수 있을 것인가 여기서 출발을 하게 되었다고 해요. 하면서 전쟁의 가장 기초가 될 수 있는 석탄이나 철강 그렇죠. 그러니까 석탄은 그 연료가 되는 거고 철강이 바로 그 무기를 만들어낼 수 있기 때문에 그것을 규제하고 어떻게 하면 서로 감시하면서 전쟁을 우리가 막을 수 있을까라는 데에서 출발을 했다고 합니다. So so to my understanding, it is actually the search for peace that actually brought the European countries together to form the EU. Am I right?
Yes, correct. And that it had its own dynamic, what we called ever closer union. So we had a common market for steel and energy, and that was enlarged. So we have a common market now for goods, for persons, free movement of persons. Very important because you can study and work wherever you want in the European Union. Especially for young people, it's extremely important. What we call Erasmus program, you can get a scholarship and you can study in any of the countries in the European Union. So you learn another culture, you learn to live and love
Yes.
other people. We have now a few million who have already gone through that program. But we also have now a common currency. Not all member countries, but in 19 member countries. So you don't have to change money. And what is very convenient, once you are in the European Union, you don't have to show your passport all the time. You can travel freely.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because of some problems that has been a little bit reduced, but freedom is one of the catchwords in the European Union.
I see. So it's like literally small countries or the member countries, all combining themselves together to form a bigger country in a way, maybe with some individual political state or something, but still they're all working as a huge country.
Yes, the countries remain independent. All 28 are independent countries. However, they have decided that many areas are common. A common agriculture policy, a common trade policy, and a common development policy, and we are trying now a common foreign policy. That means we have rules and regulations and institutions. And what is important that in most areas of the European Union, you can take decision nowadays by majority voting. And that's rather rare, because even if as a country you lose a vote, nevertheless you are bound to implement a law, even
Yes.
if you've voted against it. And that shows the what we call supranational character of the European Union. But nevertheless, we are the European Union and not the United States of Europe.
아하, I see. 네, 거기서 그 이름에서 차이점을 느낄 수가 있네요. United States of Europe이 아니라 European Union. 이렇게 모든 나라들이 뭐 규모에 상관없이 각자 자신들의 독립적인 목소리를 낼 수 있는 그런 자유가 보장된다는 게 아마 큰 특징 중에 하나라고 우리가 생각이 될 수가 있을 것 같습니다. Now, when all of those small bodies come together to form a big group, I'm sure that there are some good points and some very easy things and a lot of less confusion, and many things might be easier than before. But don't they also cultivate a lot of problems that did not happen, did not take place before?
Well, I think the program of the European Union is rather to avoid problem than to create problems. But it needs a lot of regulations. But if you buy, for example, a product in Finland and you are residing in Portugal, well, then you have to make sure that the rules are in a way that you can pay for your product. So transfer of money from Portugal to Finland must work. And if there's a problem with the product, you must be able to get regress. Also, even if you are in Portugal and the product comes from Finland.
Yeah.
So it's like in one country. So that's the strength of the European Union. Of course, there are challenges because we have European solidarity. That means we have to try to develop poorer regions or poorer countries. Well, and solidarity means the richer ones have to pay
Yep.
for the poorer ones, like in any country. Also in
Yes.
Korea, you have a richer area and a poorer area,
Yes, that's
and there
true.
has to be a distribution within the country. So we do that within the European Union. We call that regional policies. And we have a major challenge right now also with refugees and migration.
Yes.
They come primarily to Italy, to Greece, and therefore we need redistribution within the European Union. So that's a challenge, of course, for solidarity.
I see. 자, 오늘은 그 EU의 대사이신 닥터 마이클 라이터러 님과 함께 EU에 대해서 이야기를 좀 나눠보고 있습니다. 자, 오늘 이야기 모닝 데이트를 들으시면서 조금 더 관심 있게 들으시라고 저희가 퀴즈를 하나 내드리도록 할게요. I would like to give out a quiz question to our listeners so that they can focus a little bit more on the interview that we're having today. 자, 오늘의 퀴즈입니다. The EU has a flag. It is blue with 12 of these. They are 자, 1번 eagles, 2번 stars, 3번은 puppies입니다. 자, EU has a flag. EU의 깃발을 다 알고 계시죠? EU 기. It is blue, 푸른색이고요. With 12 of these. 12개의 이게 그려져 있습니다. 무엇이 그려져 있을까요? 1번은 eagles, 2번은 stars, 3번은 puppies. If you know the answer, 정답을 아신다면 짧은 문자는 50원, 긴 문자는 100원인 샵 1045번으로 보내주시고요. 아니면 저희 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스를 통해서 보내주셔도 되겠습니다. 정답 보내주신 분들 중 저희가 몇 분을 추첨해서 좋은 상품을 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 네, EU에 대해서 얘기 나누고 있는 모닝 데이트인데요. 여기서 노래 한 곡 듣고 계속해서 이야기 나누겠습니다. This is ABBA. Thank you for the music. 네, 에바의 Thank you for the music 듣고 오셨습니다. 오늘 모닝 데이트는요, EU Ambassador이신 닥터 마이클 라이터님과 대사님과 이야기를 나누고 있습니다. So, when did you gain your position as the ambassador, the EU ambassador to Korea? I believe it was last year.
It was last year, yes. I arrived on the 17th of February of last year, in the middle of a very turbulent time here in Korea.
Yes, well, a lot of people were very confused at where we were going and what will be happening to our government. So, did it affect you and the role that you had to play that time?
Well, first of all, it took some time for Korean authorities or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to figure out to whom the letter which an ambassador normally brings to the head of state should be addressed. So finally, it was addressed to the acting president. He received me, I think, after 4 or 5 weeks here in Seoul. But for me, what was very interesting, I went every weekend to see the candlelight party.
I
So
see.
I wanted to get an impression, a feeling, what is going on in the country, and it was very impressive. I went to both sides, the younger
Yes.
ones and the not so young ones, and with different goals. But I was impressed by how well organized, how well behaved, how peaceful, but also determined that movement was, and it brought finally change within the constitutional process of Korea, and I think that's a very good example
Yes.
of people power, and I was happy that I could see that.
Yes, and I think a lot of Koreans too were quite proud of the fact, no matter which side you were on, the fact that we actually made a peaceful movement. I think that's a huge change considering all of our history of our demonstrations for democracy in the past. You know, it was all filled with violence and blood and everything. But this time, I think we did it. We maintained to remain quite peaceful. And I think that was something that was quite impressive to the world, not only to us, but to many other countries in the world.
Yes, I dutifully also reported back home about it, and I think it's a good example that if you take your life and also political life in your own hands, that you can achieve something. I think that's a good message, and I think it's also part of a human rights message, because
Yes.
you have the right to determine your government, you have a right to vote, a right to assembly, and I think that's a good way. And given the history, as you say of Korea, it was not Gwangju.
Yes.
It was completely different, and luckily. But you have to have in mind, Gwangju was in 1980s, and
Yep.
now we are in 2018, so it's not that long. And
But what a
so
big change.
it was a big change, and a change for the better.
네. 우리가 이번에 작년에 이제 한국의 EU 대사로 이제 부임을 하셔서 한국에 오시게 됐는데 그때 한참 우리가 촛불 시위를 하고 그리고 우리의 정권이 막 바뀌려는 움직임을 보이는 때였습니다. 그래서 사실 그 대사분들이 외국에서 이제 한국 정부에게 내가 이제 여기를 대표해서 가게 됩니다라는 그런 편지를 쓰게 돼 있는데요. 원래는 대통령에게 그것을 쓰게 됐지만 대통령직이 공석이었을 때 그때 누구에게 쓸 것인가 때문에 한 시간이 조금 걸리셨다는 얘기를 해주셨습니다. 그러면서 그 촛불 시위 때 얼만큼 사람들이 성숙하게 그리고 평화롭게 이쪽 저쪽 모두 다 할 거 없이 자신들의 의견을 잘 그렇게 표현을 하고 그리고 얼마만큼 사람들이 그 변화를 열망했었는지를 다 볼 수 있었다고 합니다. And of course, you said the EU also started off from the wanting of peace. And I think in a way, that's how Korea is right now. This year, we're having this peace talk. So you got to witness I guess, the two major biggest changes in Korean political history in a short period of time.
Yes, that's true. It's very rewarding, and I mean, last Friday I was glued to the TV to see what
Yes.
was going on in this meeting between President Moon Jae-in and Chairman Kim. It was also an interesting achievement, full of, I would say, symbolism.
Yes.
And now we hope that will lead to further progress, because it was just a first step. And we have to engage in a longer process, which will lead, hopefully, to the common goal, which is denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. It would also mean that a solution is found for the missiles problem.
Yes.
It will also mean that in due course human rights issues have to be addressed. So it's quite a program. We need a successful summit now between Chairman Kim and the US President.
Yes.
So it's quite a way to go. And the European Union has come out also publicly that we support this process. We support negotiations. We support finding a diplomatic solution. But we also recognize that we have to have a new approach which combines pressure
Yes.
with an open door for discussions. And I think that was shown at the first, actually it was the third summit now between the Korean leaders. But they found means to communicate, to talk, and we have to continue that process. And at the end, what will be important is implementation of what has been agreed, because there were many good beginnings in the history between North and South Korea, but implementation was not very good.
Yes, that's true. And of course, people come up with high hopes and, they want to achieve something, but the difference of culture and the difference of goals might lead them elsewhere. So as you said, some pressure at the same time, so the talks together might have to be combined. They have to be there at the same time.
Yeah, we have that as the EU policy was always what we call critical engagement. So we have combined that from the beginning. And the European Union, I think, has also some experience. I have mentioned that we integrated after 1989, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, after the fall of the Iron Curtain. We have integrated many countries. We have helped them to change the system, to bring them close, not only economically, but also intellectually and based on values to the European Union. The European Union was also charged by the United Nations to negotiate a deal on nuclear control with Iran, where we have experience which might
Yes.
be helpful and relevant in dealing with North Korea. So the foreign minister of the European Union, we call her High Representative, Ms. Mogherini, is in close contact with Foreign Minister Kang.
Yep.
And Foreign Minister Kang was invited to Brussels to have a working lunch with all the foreign ministers of the European Union. So we are looking very closely, because what we know and what we have learned is that the security of the European Union is not limited to security in Europe, but it's also intertwined with security in Asia and vice versa.
Yes. Yes, come to think of it, the EU is perhaps the only part of the world that actually has a very close example of experience of what we might likely go through in the future, of how to reconcile and also how to develop ourselves and how to bring the different cultures together. So I guess, we will have to really keep our close ties with the EU and, get a lot of words of advice.
Well, yeah, we think we have some experience. We have perhaps some best practices. We also know what doesn't work.
Yes.
So if we talk, you have to pick and choose, basically. There is no fixed model that you can take from Europe and bring it to Northeast Asia. But I think there are principles, there are ideas, and you could shorten the learning process and avoid perhaps some trial and error.
네. 작년에 우리의 정치적인 그런 혼란도 있었지만 올해는 또 북한과의 이런 평화 모드, 매우 조심스럽지만 희망적인 이런 평화 분위기에도 EU가 우리에게 줄 수 있는 교훈은 상당히 많을 것 같습니다. 왜냐하면 독일 장벽이 무너졌을 때도 그렇고요. 그리고 철의 장막이 거쳐졌을 때도 그렇고, 뭔가 이념의 대립이 사라졌을 때 어떠한 방식으로 서로가 공존해 나갈 수 있는 그런 방안을 마련했는가. 이런 것들은 EU가 이미 벌써 거쳐간 그런 행적이기 때문에 말씀하셨듯이 우리가 그대로 따라갈 수는 없지만 여러 가지의 그런 방안들을 놓고 이거는 잘 안 되겠더라, 이런 건 잘 되겠더라, 이런 거는 우리가 잘 선별을 해서 따라가면 여러 가지의 그런 시간의 낭비를 절약할 수도 있다라는 그런 생각이 들었습니다. 자, 오늘 모닝 데이트에서는요, 우리가 EU의 대사이신 닥터 마이클 라이터러님과 이야기를 나누고 있는데요. 여기서 퀴즈 다시 한번 여러분께 알려드리도록 하겠습니다. I would like to remind our listeners once again of the quiz question. 네, the EU has a flag. It is blue with 12 of these. 자, EU의 그런 기는 푸른색이고 12개의 이것이 있습니다. 어떤 것들이 그려져 있을까요? 1번은 eagles, 2번은 stars, 3번은 puppies입니다. 정답을 알고 계신다면 짧은 문자는 50원, 긴 문자는 100원인 샵 1045번으로 보내주시고요. 아니면 저희 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스를 통해서 보내주셔도 되겠습니다. 자, 노래 한 곡 듣고 계속해서 이야기 나누겠습니다. This is Paolo Nutini, These Streets.